think it was Ricky Gervais said, like you can be offended, and then what? Then what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. You're offended, and then that's it. It's over. There's not like a second stage or a second thing that happens. It's okay to be offended.
Hi, I'm Mark Daly, and I'm here on the All Over the Place podcast, where the funsanity never ends.
Hello, welcome back to All Over the Place, our weird remix edition of a freestyle, and let's just get everybody in here to make it less confusing for me. Jim, Marty, hello.
Hey.
And I just very quickly, as we get the show rolling, I want to, as always, thank our friends over at Vinyl Record Dude, Nick and the gang over there at their new location in Scottsdale and Shea. And also remember to check them out online at vinylrecorddude.com. Also want to thank our friends at Danny Zalesko Presents, Danny and Kaz and the team over there. And be sure you check them out for all your concert needs, primarily in the Southwest, but also from coast to coast. And they are at dzplive.com/events. So thank you to them and to Vinyl Record Dude. Check them out, as they say back in the Berg. So this is a unique situation for this week because Cathy was available one night for recording. Marty wasn't. Marty's available to record tonight. Cathy's not. Jim and I, we're constants here, and we're just going to mix things around. Some of the things that we talked about with Cathy will be brought up. We'll see what happens. It's a freestyle, but the one thing I want to get for sure, because we're all music-minded people here, released recently. I got this from my buddy and a former guest here on the show, Chris Hamill. Chris was with us for our faith-based films episode, and Chris shot me this list yesterday. He got it from the Ingram angle, and this is from Donald Trump's Spotify playlist. And Marty, I want to run these down for you. Jim and I talked about them a little bit previously with Cathy, and want to get your reactions to what was released. And I'll go through them, and if something grabs you and you're like, whoa, slow down, I want to talk about this one, just say so. All right, so what you might expect from someone in the Oval Office: Phantom of the Opera, Jesus Christ Superstar, someone from his generation, Suspicious Minds, a little Elvis, It's a Man's World, James Brown. And now as we head into the 80s with some of the songs, we've got from Lionel Richie, Hello. I thought that was an interesting pick. And also, I'm trying to remember if this was late 80s or early 90s, but it's Sinead O'Connor with Nothing Compares to You.
Wow. I'm surprised.
Well,
she's not a big fan of the papists, even though I think he's more of a Protestant. Still, she's not I'm shocked. That one shocks me.
Well, yeah, but that is a very universal message, but most definitely from Skinhead O'Connor.
It's a great song, but she's not so much.
Yeah. Also, coming in next, another popular song amongst the boomers, of which our president is. You Can't Always Get What You Want from the Stones, and some Elton John. And I think that's very fitting for a person who just has a huge umbrella in his cabinet, and just Elton John. Got great music across generations. But the one that surprised me the most out of all this, because I am a super fan, or was anyway, back in the 80s and 90s, when Bill Berry was in the band, huge REM fan. But REM is on the president's Spotify playlist.
Wow. That's and I think, this guy's it's shocking because this guy's, 80-ish. And that's not a lot.
Yeah. If not already there, it wasn't in on it.
And I think there was a GNR in there.
Yeah, Guns N' Roses, November Rain.
That's surprising to me because he's an old guy. He didn't act like it, but he's an old dude, man. And I have some uncles that are around that age, and they don't know what the fuck November Rain is.
Well, this just dawned on me. His wife is approximately our age. Isn't Melania early, mid-50s?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay, a little influence from there, and then maybe obviously no hip hop coming in with Barron and any influence from him, but it just dawned on me that Melania probably weaseling in there with some November Rain and some.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I know some country songs, and it's mainly because of my wife.
Yeah.
There you go. See?
Bear in mind also that despite Trump's age, he was a guy that definitely enjoyed the 80s. And so, you know,
the other 80s.
All the 80s hits, probably well known by him from his party days, and picked out his favorites. So that would probably account for a lot of them.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because a guy like that, I mean, let's just face it, a rich guy is probably hanging around a lot of young people, women especially. You know, someone in their 20s is a lot more fun than someone in their 60s or 50s, whatever you would have been.
So yeah, what I also thought with November Rain, maybe a little Stephanie Seymour there in the video for November Rain.
Yeah.
Hang with some supermodels back in the day, which I'm sure our president did.
Yeah. You know, people try and criticize it, but I'm like, that's just a matter of opportunity. You would have done it too. People act like they would.
Let's not forget that the Time has a song, Black Donald Trump.
Oh, I didn't forget. I didn't know.
You did not know that? I only know it's from their comebacks, from the Pandemonium comeback album. That's how I remember that one. And I think it's a song that they try and forget these days because, you know, that no one wants to remember that Donald Trump, they used to party a lot with that guy.
No trivia with Eric right there. That'd have been good.
Well.
That was some shit nobody knows right there.
Yeah.
Live and learn.
I got to be quicker on the production draw. This is why we need a full-time producer.
Because you can't be amazing and no trivia and spout it out and at the same time click a button. That's too much.
I got to think ahead, but enough of that for now. But there we have there. So now we got everyone's reactions to Donald Trump's Spotify playlist, and let's see if we can actually get that called up, and I can. Not that I plan on it. I've got my own playlist to worry about, but Donald Trump playlist.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool songs in there. I like a lot of that stuff. I like Suspicious Minds. That's a really good album.
Loves it. Donald Trump's playlist. There we go. Oh, wow. There's more on here now. There's a bunch. Shall we run down a few more that people?
I was about to say, is that the whole list? Because that's like 10 songs.
This is how many songs are on this? Holy shit! I'm not sure if someone's making extra riffs to this, but this is got YMCA from the Village People, Space Oddity, David Bowie. There's some Elton John with Rocket Man. Here we go. Here's one you expect from a Republican president, whether you believe he's a Republican or not. God Bless the USA, little Lee Greenwood there, as brought up recently on the show. Kersey Marty's son on the karaoke. All Right Now, some Free. In addition to what was brought up in November Rain, we've got GNR with Sweet Child of Mine. Hey, one of your karaoke songs, Jim, Eye of the Tiger.
Nice.
Born in the USA. Star.
Yeah, well, this is sounding like Melania influenced.
Oh no, you can't. This to me is all a combo. Little boomer. Bad Moon Rising, Born on the Bayou, some CCR. Michael Jackson Beat It. That's more CCR with Have You Ever Seen the Rain? REM, Everybody Hurts. Interesting.
That's good too.
Fortunate Song, more CCR. And let's see, We Are the Champions, Don't Stop Believing, Revolution from the Beatles, Dream On, Aerosmith, and Funeral for a Friend from Elton John. So hey, there's some more from Donald Trump's playlist, folks.
So Fortunate Son, that's interesting that a president would admit that to listening to that, because that's a anti-war, anti-government type, anti-establishment.
As is Born in the USA. That's not the rollicking.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's not a patriotic song at all. Everybody thinks it is, which made it that, but it's definitely not. But I guess, he's anti-establishment as it comes, I guess.
I just love that pisses off Springsteen so much.
Well, here's the thing. Had Springsteen never released, had he released it in its original incarnation that he recorded for the Nebraska album, instead of making it the stadium anthem production value or just the sound that he got for the Born in the USA album, people would be looking at that song a whole different way. Not as anthemic as it turned out to be.
Was that a producer decision?
That was, I don't know what kept it off of Nebraska, but well, Springsteen, that guy is just so prolific, or at least was in his earlier years. He would just have like 3 albums worth of stuff every time he went into a recording studio. So he probably just said, you know what, I don't want to release this right now, and saved it for the next album, which was not as stark and acoustic minded as Nebraska was.
Yeah, it seems the douchebag meter doesn't ruin talent all the way.
it ebbs and flows. He was a lot easier to put up with back in the day. So anyway, but so more extra songs from Donald Trump's playlist. There we have it. But Marty, now that you're with it's freestyle. It's a 3 for all, a 4 for all. And what's on your brain these days?
I don't have any specific things on my mind, but I will say this: beware of AI.
Oh. And folks, that will be a teaser to a future show where we get more in depth on AI. I know we've talked about it with our friend Christian Toto in regards to movies, but Marty and I were talking a little bit earlier today, and we're gonna have a full blown AI episode, and that we'll make sure we have all 4 of us on Team AOTP for that one.
I think I may just have AI write my whole segment.
Ooh,
might as well.
That I kind of like that idea. Just little bits and pieces. We can have ChatGPT write our dialogue.
Just have our ChatGPT running, and it could just be chatting with each other the whole time.
Yes. Well, yes. We're getting grandiose.
Zero internet or internet zero, whatever it's called. Net zero internet. Can't remember what it's called, but it's just AI all talking to AI, not really doing anything.
Yeah.
We get a bot. Have a bot be the 5th person and just interact with us.
Big ideas here on All Over the Place, folks. Big ideas. Another thing we brought up with Cathy, and I mentioned I was going to be wearing another shirt in the wake of the Sydney Sweeney kerfluffle. And I love how the right, we don't bitch and moan about stuff. When the left starts whining about something, we go into boycott mode. And whether that's with Chick-fil-A or now with American Eagle jeans and the American Eagle brand. I'm wearing my second. I picked up 2 shirts. I went over to the American Eagle discount store, whatever. What are they called? It was the outlet store. I went to the outlet store, picked up a pair of jeans, a couple of shirts, and And Marty, what's your take on all this? Because what we brought up with Cathy was some people just want to wake up. And by some people, I mean primarily the left, and the right does it too, but not to, like I said, the right, we go in boycott mode. We are trying to do something productive out of it. But the left just seems perpetually aggrieved, and they're looking for any little thing, and they totally botched it with this jeans, Jeans versus Genes. What's your take on all this?
Well, that was clearly a play on words, and it was a tongue-in-cheek thing, and it was the whole point was not that she was white and beautiful. The point was that she has spectacular genes because she's beautiful. She's a model. It was just like you had said. The left wakes up looking for something to be offended by. They just can't wait to be offended. And I think it was Ricky Gervais said, like you can be offended, and then what? Then what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. You're offended, and then that's it. It's over. There's not like a second stage or a second thing that happens. It's okay to be offended, and it's.
That's the problem, though. They want there to be a second stage where I say I'm offended, and therefore the thing I just talked about disappears.
Yes, it's childish to be worrying about whether or not did she mean white jeans or what? No, she meant beautiful jeans. Beautiful. It's a beautiful person.
I like the fact that American Eagle is already starting to roll out different women, different size women of different skin color, and it was just the beginning. And they couldn't have advertised for American Eagle any better than a shine a light that was like a nothing burger.
Yeah, the irony does not escape me that if you watch commercials, the straight white family does not exist anymore. Just doesn't exist apparently, because I've never seen it. But here we are complaining about the one commercial that featured a white person. Like, come on, it's silly. Everybody needs to grow up. This is dumb. We got a lot of problems.
Do I offend? Sorry, I couldn't resist a little nod to the Duck Man there.
What was that? What was that?
The Duck Man from Pretty in Pink. Do I offend? Or I guess it could have been Flounder in Animal House too. Anyway, stop me before we need unnecessary sub references from Eric on this little ticker as well.
Hey, they're not. They're necessary. They're fine, but maybe help me out with a little primer. I'm like, what the hell's Eric doing over there?
What would that be? Come on.
Yeah, you're like, what's he doing? What the hell's that about? Had no context.
Zooming through my days at lightning speed. There we go. And that Stones reference was brought to you by my playlist. So what we did not get to last night, though, and I think this would be a nice time to drop it in there, and I'm going to toss it over to you, Jim, with the restructuring and the future of late night TV. Yeah,
this is a very interesting time regarding that because of the Stephen Colbert thing, which is apparently the story that doesn't die because we keep talking about it. We've got senators writing letters about it. We've got politicians and celebrities complaining about it. We've got people acting like it's some kind of conspiracy theory that Trump somehow colluded with Skydance when they were about to buy out Paramount and said you have to get Colbert canceled or I won't let you do the merger. And just insane things and acting like this is somehow destroying Colbert's freedom of speech, as if there's any lack of people in Hollywood shitting on Trump right now that canceling his show would somehow end that narrative. Give me a break. Yeah. But yeah, it's just there's all this wailing and gnashing of teeth about it when the reality is very simple. The show was losing $40 million a year for Paramount, and Paramount was up to a point fine with that for reasons that I'll just let everyone make up their own minds. But at some point they were not fine with it. There might have been a change of attitude at the top. Might have been that the U.S. aid money just suddenly ran out to support this stuff. But whatever the reason, Paramount at the very top decided, we're tired of losing $40 million on this stuff. Just because he's spouting stuff that I happen to agree with at the cocktail parties doesn't mean I want to lose $40 million a year on this anymore. And, he was making between $12 and $15 million a year on this. Yeah. Somebody please give me a job making $12 to $15 million doing something that loses $40 million a year. I promise I'll be a lot nicer about it. But apparently you can keep doing that. Apparently you can keep doing that for years in Hollywood as long as you spout the right talking points.
Well, that's Hollywood where you can underwrite everything now with the corporate ownerships.
Yeah.
Or USAID.
Subsidizing, as you mentioned, USAID, who knows how much subsidizing? We don't. But there's something interesting to all this, and maybe Paramount is doing the tip of the sword thing. They see the writing on the wall. This is not sustainable. Not just Stephen Colbert, but in general, the viewership of network TV it's in the tank. It's done. It can't compete. So I have some numbers here. So broadcast and cable TV make up 44.5% more or less of TV viewership, and streaming makes up that same amount. But here's the big difference. The Stephen Colbert thing, it cost $330 per 1,000. There's a name for it. Don't need to get into it, but that's Colbert. 300. Joe Rogan, on the other hand, 156 per 1,000. That only tells you that Colbert's show is not working. It tells you that the whole model is not working anymore. For less than half, you can get 1,000 people. Hollywood's got a lot of problems, and they do a lot of things for political, and they want their brand of crazy to be pushed forward. But at some point, the pockets run dry. These guys are not like, how long are they going to fund it? So maybe this is them just admitting, like, not only is this media struggling and we need to keep making money in it, but like we can do it for way cheaper. We can actually turn a profit. Like they're just getting the cheaper labor. They seem to be okay with this when it's on a farm.
Yeah. Rogan does better per capita. Even Gutfeld. I mean, his show's budget has got to be a fraction of what Colbert's was, and he makes about 50% higher ratings. He gets 3 million people a night versus 2 million for Colbert.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can just get better ratings for less money nowadays, and they really got to work smarter, not harder here. Johnny Carson at his peak, he was getting 8-9 million people a night, and Colbert's getting 2 million.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, as Marty alluded to earlier, it's the broadcasting, and we're no longer in a broadcast world, but with all the other things like.
Right.
I'll throw a quick nod to Springsteen. There used to be 57 channels and nothing on. There's 5,057 channels on right now, and we've become we're a narrowcasting world. Yep. And I look at someone like Jimmy Fallon, who brought Greg Gutfeld on, and it wasn't a long segment, but it was enough of an olive branch that people who normally wouldn't see Greg Gutfeld got to see somebody who was not an evil guy from the right. It was just two guys joshing up for a small amount of time, but humanizing. And I mean, I'd like to see I'd like to see Gutfeld invite Fallon onto the Gutfeld show. I'd like to see this across the board. And I mean, I think that Kimmel is too, and maybe I can be proven wrong. Because Fallon was kind of a light guy who wasn't as into the political angle until the left pushed him into it after he humanized Trump. Yep. And so it made the most sense for me, at least, and I think, and his producers especially, to bring Gutfeld on the show as an olive branch. I think Kimmel, although I'd like to be proven wrong, much more of a narrowcaster and much more political. Do we see him maybe throwing Gutfeld an olive branch?
I don't think so. Kimmel has gotten so hyper partisan. Yeah, he gets up there and gives these monologues where he just rants and raves about how horrible everybody who disagrees with him is, and he's just this bitter, angry person now. I don't see him being able to go back to just kind of the happy-go-lucky, hey, let's be friends and have everybody on and give everybody a big hug thing. Yeah. I just don't see it. But
his buddy Corolla on. Do you think that the bridges can ever be mended there?
I think
they're still doing stuff together. I was just listening to the Corolla podcast, and they're doing something together pretty soon, or already happened.
Yeah. I think they're still friends off screen, but I don't know like how professionally entwined they are anymore. It sounds like they are doing stuff together, which is great, but I don't know. I mean, Kimmel just threatened to leave the country and move to Italy because Trump. I mean, Oh yeah. Please. Do you need help packing? Do you need help paying for your ticket? Please.
It's a shame. It's a shame because both Kimmel, mainly Kimmel, but whatever. What funny comics that have just completely they turned into something else. They got a taste of money, and now it just comes across as this is a liberal show, and we're left liberal, and man, and especially Kimmel. But man, that guy was funny. He used to be really funny, and he's just not anymore.
I went to a couple of his shows when I lived in LA. I went there.
I love the Man Show,
but he was very funny, and he wasn't hyper partisan. And unfortunately, Bush derangement syndrome was the start of it. But it's got nothing on Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
And Fallon, I mean, he does some. I love the shit he does with like Justin Timberlake. They're fucking around singing and shit. That's funny stuff. I like that. But then it's just a bunch of garbage.
I don't like Neil Young, but my God, when Jimmy Fallon does Neil Young, it's funny.
I love that. I loved that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
by the way,
and-
to your point of the watching or viewership is changing, the way we view is changing. Looking at that 44.5% that is streaming, 12.5% of that is YouTube. So
Yeah.
that's the short attention span. And people like real stuff now. They like more like stuff that's actually based on a person, not produced in a studio. It's becoming more of a thing. I mean, the next closest is Netflix at 7.5. So YouTube is very dominant, and it's all, how cheap is YouTube for them? They get 12.5%, and all they do is have a platform, and people just make the shit. You don't make any money anymore from YouTube. You got millions of streams to make any kind of money. It's gone. That part is done where YouTube pays you. So they just got a cash cow. People create free content and people watch it. And their advertisers eat it up. It's really genius. It's really, really brilliant. I think that quick fix, something like this, less than an hour, get in and out. That's what people like now.
Yeah. There's no question. It's just become everything has become content. And so the amount of competition for anything, movies, TV, whatever, is so much bigger for people. The competition for people's eyeballs. So people don't just sit in front of the TV anymore like they used to. So maybe probably the days of late night TV getting 8 million viewers is probably never coming back. But if you're accepting that reality, why would you cater to 10% of the population in your content? When you can cater to everybody just by being funny and having content that brings people together. And I mean, some people are kind of saying this thing with Fallon bringing on Gutfeld is kind of a watershed moment, because it's very clearly Fallon trying to save his ratings and save his job by reaching over to the other side. But I mean, that used to be completely normal on talk shows. I watched The Daily Show, back in the early 2000s when Jon Stewart first came on, and it's almost unheard of, the idea of this today. But Jon Stewart used to have Bill O'Reilly on regularly.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he had Bosch Faustin on. He had Steven Crowder on. Yeah. It was normal to do that. We could, and there could be agree to disagree moments. Absolutely.
Yeah, they would have back and forth, but they would tease each other, and the audience would laugh, and you felt like these were two people that didn't agree on things, but they were still coming together and just having a fun time together and hashing out some of their differences a little bit. And Jon Stewart would never do that today. Never. The day he walked on to Carlson and the other guy's show on I think it was CNBC, and just laid into him. That was it. He torched the idea of people coming together.
I think he torched that idea when he was sitting in on one-on-one meetings with President Obama when he was still doing The Daily Show.
Yeah. And he's never looked back since. But I mean, he had his own following. And I think what happened was there's a huge misconception, I think, in Hollywood for the last 20 years that the Jon Stewart audience is the future. That's the young people. That's the Twitter mob. So that must represent this huge swath of young Americans, and but that was never the case. It was just the people that barked the loudest. And
Twitter's still what, 2% of the population?
Yeah, Twitter's 2% of the population.
Whatever we want it is now. Yeah.
Jon Stewart almost never got more than 1 million viewers on that Comedy Central show. I mean, he got beat out by reruns of reality shows and Antiques Roadshow. So he was never as hip or popular as he was made out to be. But this mindset filtered all the way to the top of Hollywood that this guy represents the kid, the future vote, the kids, everyone, the kids all love this stuff. Yeah. And so all the talk shows turned into versions of Jon Stewart. And so because they thought that was the future. But they said when they replaced Letterman with Colbert, they were going for a younger demographic, but Colbert's demographic was like 5 years older than Letterman's.
Yeah.
It was almost the average age was almost 70 of his viewers. So it completely, and we saw that in the last election, it completely flipped. Most of the blue votes were boomers rather than the other way around. So there's been a huge misconception about what the American public wants, what young people want, what's the future of entertainment, and the late night talk show overlords bought it hook, line, and sinker, and now their shows are going down in flames. Starting with Colbert, and Fallon's trying to pull himself out of that tailspin. I think. I kind of hope Kimmel just goes away, but
now Kimmel's got all the Disney money behind him, for better or worse.
Yeah. And, another example, and it's not really, it's a little different media, but Bill Maher, he's starting to realize, like, this is absolutely fucking crazy. I can't go along.
There's a perfect example of a guy who reaches. He has everybody on.
Yeah.
I love that concept.
He doesn't just toe the line. Like, he said, in one interview, they were talking to him, and he's like, it's not because I've turned on being a liberal. I'm a liberal. It's not because I've become Republican or conservative. I haven't. It's that your ideas are stupid. And I think people kind of get that. They go, yeah, I'm liberal. I think we should care for the poor, and we need tax dollars for that. And I think, liberal ideas. But now it's turned into insanity. And Bill Maher's an older guy, and he's like, man, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what it means to. I mean, a Democrat used to just be a guy you disagreed with, and now it's turned into something weird.
Perpetually agreed. Well, God rest his soul. I really liked what Norm Macdonald brought to his Netflix show, and he was a guy who reached. I think there were maybe 10 episodes, about that 8 to 10 episodes, but the majority of the guests he had on were leftists, and Norm was a guy that may have leaned to the right, maybe Canadian, who knows? But he was someone who just wanted to be funny. And most of those shows did not get political. I think the Jane Fonda one was the one that got most political, but he just wanted to talk about things. And you could agree to disagree. Mm-hmm. And it's for many reasons that Norm is tremendously missed. But I want to throw this out there because the guy that I was looking forward to take over for Letterman, because he followed Letterman, was Craig Ferguson. And I think that he would have been – I still wish he would come back and do it because his comedy specials continue to make fun of everybody. I think he should be – you can throw it around with Neil Patrick Harris. I also think he's a great host of – or Ricky Gervais of the award shows if you really – if you're still into that kind of thing, and because it becomes so hyper political. But I think Craig Ferguson would be perfect to host any one of those things because he knows how to make fun of everybody. And he's a guy who has fun. That's my vote to save late night television. What do you guys got? Marty, I'm going to go to you first.
Well, I'm a little biased because Ricky G is my guy. But I do like your choice. That's pretty good. He's a little more center, a little less aggressive. Ricky Gervais he's all balls, no holding back on it. So I think, and I, by the way, I do think that even though network is dying, it's not going to die completely. So I think maybe this move with Colbert is to like, look, we can still do this. We just can't spend $330 per 1,000. So let's do something different because everybody's going to have to do it. Anyway, I like your choice, Ferguson.
All right. Well, Jim, who you got? Who can save the late night universe for you? Besides Greg Gutfeld, of course.
Yeah, I would definitely. I will second you on Ferguson because I loved his show. He was funny. He was he was a lot of fun to watch. Those musical segments he would start with were just batshit crazy and hilarious, and I loved him. And yeah, he was great with guests, and he was funny. His monologues were good. He didn't take himself too seriously, and he doesn't get political. So yeah, I absolutely would pick him. Personally, though, I'm going to go a little out of pocket and say if you were to let me pick the next late night talk show host, if you can see the poster behind me, that guy, Bruce Campbell.
Ah,
I'm picking him.
Wow.
If you've seen him at conventions, if you've seen him on talk shows,
oh, the
if you've
guy
seen
can
him on
riff.
stage, oh, he can riff. He is one of the funniest people I've ever seen. I've been to conventions, and just the interactions he has with fans on a microphone will left my sides hurting. He's so freaking funny, and he will roast everybody, and he'll roast himself, and he'll roast his industry, and everybody's laughing, everybody's having a good time. He is charisma up the yin yang. I mean, I feel like this guy missed his calling. He should have been a stand-up comedian, and he would have been up there with one of the greats. He's hilarious, and he doesn't take anything too seriously. He's a complete Midwestern goofball, and I think he would be a natural as a talk show host. He'd get up there in those loud suits. He'd make fun of everybody and tease everybody, and everybody would have a great time. So, completely out of pocket, completely
Does sound
spontaneous.
fun, though.
That's my pick.
Does sound good.
I like it. I think we could. Unfortunately, it's not in our hands, folks. But
No.
if you're watching, and just start writing to your network. Start taking. Let's see some of your suggestions in the comments. I'd like to see what our all over the place audience thinks. Who do you think would be a good savior for late night television? Or do you think it's even worth saving? I like to think it is, even in this narrow casting world we live in with so many different venues to watch things. But I still think it's a good place for someone. I mean, the true purpose of late night was to not think about political things, be entertained, laugh about the day. And I can't remember where I think Ziegler, our buddy John Ziegler, brought this up. And it's like, it's you got caught up with the news that day, but everyone knows the news now. Or well, maybe it's not the case as much as we might think it is. But whether it's 2% of Twitter or X or just the various social media sites, but let's say a way for people to forget the day, the troubles of the day, get caught up on the news, have everybody made fun of. So I do think late night still deserves a place on television. But hey, if you think it's worth saving, if you don't think it's worth saving, let's see it in the comments.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to be the behemoth it used to be under people like Carson, but I think it still has a place. I think it's going to be part of the content landscape for decades and decades and decades. But if it wants to survive, it's got to adapt, and this is the time to adapt. For sure.
Just hit me, and I don't watch enough Gutfeld, and maybe he's already had it. But does Gutfeld have musical guests on the show ever? I realize it's a smaller pool to pick from if you're just going with conservative artists, but reach across the aisle, bring some middle of the road people in there. I think it might.
They're smart. There's a lot of ears.
make it more of a variety thing. But hey, the formula's working for him. I'm not trying to play producer on it, but it would be cool if that's one of the things I would watch. I'd tune in, even though I can't stand Kimmel. I will tune in if there's a musician I like on there, or I'll catch it the next day and bump up their numbers on YouTube. If the musical guest is worth it, I'll watch it.
Kind of like the rough years on Saturday Night Live.
And by rough years, we're saying, it's still saying now. Yeah.
I'll grind through the terrible skits to get to the musical act.
Well, just tune in at 11.
That's true.
50-ish, and you're set.
Yeah.
Time your nights accordingly. So
you can catch it on YouTube these days.
Exactly.
Yep. I honestly, 80% of what I watch or more is YouTube. That's what I watch. I can hone in on the things I'm into, and I don't have to watch anything else if I don't want. I can just watch the thing I'm in. So that's why it's a big chunk, Yeah. It's
narrow casting personified. Absolutely. Yep. Do what you want to do. Say what you want to say.
And you couldn't do that in the past. You couldn't, there's just not enough outlets for every interest. And now there is. Anything you're into.
All over the place.
Gratuitous. I don't know what you're into.
But like I said, whether you want to see late night continue, who would you want to see on there? Which host? Craig Ferguson or Jim's suggestion for Bruce Campbell? Who else you got? Who do we have in the young? Would Matt Rife, who I don't think is funny as a stand-up comedian, but when he's just riffing on things, I think he's got great crowd involvement. Might be someone from a younger generation. I don't know.
I think Corolla would be great.
Who?
I think Corolla, because his podcast is already kind of a show.
Yeah,
and doing that, with a little more steam behind it, and because he's not so right or conservative that he's not a complete turnoff.
right.
Although I think he scares people nowadays because they don't know what he's liable to pull out.
I was going to suggest Mike Rowe, but I think he would be great, but I think he would be miserable doing that rather than what he's doing now. So
Right.
I think he's happy where he is.
And he would have a pretty narrow audience, one half audience.
Yeah, just me.
Everybody on the right loves him, but everybody on the left hates him.
Well, it's because everyone on the right loves him that the left hates him. Ugh, it just
That's a good reason.
Which brings us full circle to the perpetually aggrieved. Once again, folks, practice fun sanity. Your lives will be a lot happier because of it, and the sun will shine a little bit more. I have no scientific evidence behind this, but you can't spell fun sanity without sun. Yeah.
Your intellect is dizzying.
Wait till I get going.
Well, once again, folks, I want to thank our friends over at Vinyl Record Dude and Danny Zalesko Presents. Make sure you're checking them out at vinylrecorddude.com, or if you're in Scottsdale, stop in at their new store over on Scottsdale and Shea, and be sure to check out concerts going on all the time. Find out where you're going to go, what live shows you're going to see by going to dzplive.com/events. Marty, Jim, another fantabulous show. The fun sanity reigns here. Thanks, everyone, for checking out all over the place, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening on one of the audio streamers. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. Who you got for us, folks? What do you think about American Eagle? Talk to us. Let us know. You don't like it? Marty especially loves confrontation. And Marty's Monkey Fun is always open for business. Always open.
Marty is the anti-George McFly. He loves confrontation.
I love it. Whatever you got, I'm ready.
That's the way he likes it. Bring it. So thanks again, everybody. We'll see you real soon, or you'll hear us real soon on All Over the Place, where the fun sanity never ends. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All Over the Place, where the fun sanity never ends.